praying together is just an us thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's an you, me, and God, right? It's the triangle. That is where some of our biggest vulnerability is located, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's in that space, that thin space of spirituality, and being able to sit. Sometimes it's just sitting and being quiet and listening to God. Sometimes it's just like pouring things out that are burdening us.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many ways that it takes form, but it's a very bonding space for us.
Welcome back to the You, Me, Us Together podcast. We are The Roots. I'm Cambria.
I'm Noah.
And this is episode 29?
I think so.
29. We gotta do something big next week.
Yeah.
Episode 30.
I'll have to start planning now.
30 is old.
So old. Yeah.
So many.
Old.
It's a big number.
It is. I can't believe we've done so many of these.
I know.
They probably feel repetitive, like we've done, like we keep saying, oneness and together and
Isolation.
yeah.
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 That's okay.
It's all right.
It's important stuff.
That's marriage. Repetitiveness.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing, same person, same house.
Same house. Not us. We just got a new house.
We did.
Home.
We're
It's
not
not a
in
house.
We're not in it yet.
It's a home.
Yeah.
It's another RV. But it's sweet.
So cool.
Heckin' sweet.
So large.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We might have a place, like a dedicated place just to record podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Be so cool.
Yeah. Then we'll have to like get real mics and do the whole.
Oh, yeah. Those ones that everyone has, like, they're legit when they have those mics.
The
Like,
real
come
mic,
over.
yeah. Yeah, the Shure mics.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the best.
Not these little things. Oh,
They do pretty well. These do alright.
fully bumped, right?
So, what are we talking about this week?
We are talking about isolation. One of the words we just said.
Of course.
But just things that pull you towards isolation that you really need to be mindful of because it can sneak up on you.
Yeah,
And
these
you-
are.
You won't even realize that you're in it or you're drifting towards it until you're there because they're like little things that are just like normal in our culture, like common. You don't even realize that it's bad or putting you into a bad situation.
Yeah, these are super common for people in our generation, especially, and like we specifically have run into. I think all of these to some extent.
Yeah, we deal with
Yeah.
most, if not all, of these.
Yeah. So we've got 5
sure.
major points.
Yeah.
Cool.
Did you want to mention social media?
Yeah, we could talk about social media.
Okay.
If you haven't heard it yet,
We say it every time.
we're on social media. So if this is your first time listening, well, first of all, thank you for being here.
Yes.
Because we love having new people. And you'll realize how awkward we are.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, obviously.
We're on Threads now.
We're on Threads. We're not as good at posting on Threads. I always forget.
I post there sometimes.
That's good.
Posted today.
Anyway, our handle is at youmeus.together. So that's where you'll find us. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
We do daily posts, so you'll see us all. You'll probably get tired of seeing us and hearing us. But yeah, and then we do these every week, every Wednesday morning.
Yep.
So
Nailed it. Nice
nailed
job.
it. Thanks.
All right. Into our isolation points.
Yes.
We have 5. That's a
Yes,
lot.
I said that.
Our last... I know you said that.
Good.
I'm restating it.
Thank you.
Our last podcast, we had like 3 points.
Mm-hmm.
This is a 5-point podcast.
Yeah. So this one may be long. I hope we'll get it. It's fine.
Yeah.
So
All right. Number 1. I feel like this one is... We struggle with it a lot. It's just very prevalent in today's culture for anyone.
yep. Which
And-
is hilarious because I just plugged social media.
That
It's
is
fine.
true. Something that pulls us towards isolation is screen time.
Yes.
By screen time, I mean phones, I mean TV, I mean video games. Am I missing something? iPads, I guess. I don't know. I feel like people don't use tablets as much as they used
Yeah,
to.
a big one is scrolling through social media or watching your TV show or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Those things, playing your game.
Mm-hmm.
So those are like that's super prevalent for us, and I feel like we go through phases where it's like we're just on our phones all the time, and we also have times where it's like no, we're just together, we're just doing our thing together. So yeah, that's a big one for most people these days, except for the older folks. And even then, like, I know, like, even our parents struggle with it sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, man, I'm just so tired from whatever during the day. I just want to sit in front of my show, right? And there is a time for that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we're not saying that that is wrong or always wrong,
No.
but
Yeah, there's definitely, it can go too far really easily, right?
yeah.
It, like, we run into a lot of times, like, we always we'll get to a point where we always watch a show while we eat dinner, and it's like it starts to affect us, and there's this lack of connection even though you're doing something together, right? You go to the movies, you don't go to the movies by yourself, you go with friends because it's fun, right? And
Yeah.
it's experience, and that's part of it, but it's not the same sort of connection as like going mini golfing with friends or going whatever, right? So it's the same thing with us, right? It's the same thing with your spouse where it's like we need to make sure that we're not always in front of a screen. We're not always filling our mind with everything else when you're right in front of me and I could be talking to you and dreaming with you and just spending time together. I don't know.
Yeah.
The intentionality isn't there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, like eating in front of the TV, I think that is something that we do a lot. So I'm assuming a lot of other people do. You just that's what you do. You eat in front of the TV.
Yeah.
That can be fun sometimes, and I
Absolutely.
feel like we do it almost every night. But I think we found that when we sit at a table together and eat a meal together, that's where we get a lot of connection from.
Yeah.
And we do that almost every day for breakfast.
Right. We eat breakfast together.
Yeah. I know a lot of couples, they don't eat breakfast together because they have work. So
Yeah, they have different work schedules.
if you
or
only
whatever,
eat
yeah.
one meal together every day, and every single day that meal isn't even really together, it's in front of a TV, you're missing out on an opportunity to
Absolutely.
create intentional time together. And I know if you're not used to it, it's awkward, it's weird. You say,
Yeah.
what do we talk about? I don't even know. You know?
That reminds me of, you were talking about how you have one meal together and that's valuable time. That reminds me of the thing we've been talking about, how you're missing out on training opportunities with your dogs
Oh,
if you're
yeah.
not training them to do something new. Yeah, at feeding time when you're feeding them. It's like, why wouldn't you be training them to do something new?
Yeah. Where are you going with this? Do you need to train your wife to do something new?
No, but
During
it's
feeding
it's
times?
it's a unique opportunity that people overlook really
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like we feed our dogs twice a day, and that's 2 training sessions, if you will. And so it's the same thing where it's like if we only get one opportunity a day to have intentional face-to-face time where we can sit across the table from each other, or if you're a couple that likes to sit next to each other, we like to see each other when we talk, not turn our heads.
Yeah. If it's a corner booth, I mean, it's different.
That's true.
But
But yeah, it's like, why wouldn't you be taking that time to get to know each other better and
yeah.
just understand where each other's at with life and dream? I say dream together. We're both dreamers, so it's
Yeah.
easy for me to say that. But
Yeah. But even get to know how their day was.
Mm-hmm.
And like be intentional about that, not just how was your day? Oh, it was good. Oh,
That's it.
okay, good.
Yeah.
But what did you do today? It
Like
was,
going through it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like walk me through it. I love when you do that. I'm like, how was your day? Walk me through it. I want to know. Just
Yeah.
because I'm interested. I'm truly interested in what did you do today? What was really hard for you? What did you really enjoy today?
Right.
What, you know.
Yeah, it almost allows us to relive that with each other. And it can bring about revelations. It can bring about like these realizations, maybe is a better word for it. But like, yeah, I mean, I'll be talking through a problem I was having with a car, right? And I just am so frustrated or bummed out about how it's going. And as I'm talking through it with you, it's like, wait a minute. And I have an idea of how
Yeah.
to fix it or how to whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Something we run into a lot though when we don't eat in front of the TV is we still have our phones with us at the table. And I notice at breakfast sometimes we're both eating breakfast like this.
Right.
I don't think I really eat like this, but you know, we're sitting across from each other and we're both on our phones because there's something on our minds
Yeah.
and we feel like we just got to do it right away because I thought of it. Let me just get it done.
Exactly.
I know I'm like searching for something or I think, oh, I forgot I need to put this on the shopping list and you just
Yeah, and then
do
you end
it.
up stuck on some other app or some other whatever.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I would suggest, I think we should try it too. Don't even bring your phone to the table. Phones don't need to be at a dining table.
Wow. Amazing.
There's no place for them.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
We'll try it and we'll let you know how it goes and how it went next week. How about that?
Yeah.
Keep us accountable.
Yeah. But I also added in phone and TV are big for the two of us.
Yeah.
I added in video games, which isn't a huge issue for the two of us. But I know a lot of people are really into video games. We're
Right.
just not. That's okay.
Yeah.
But that, especially if that's your relaxing time, like instead of sitting in front of the TV watching your show, you need to play your game.
Right.
It can really easily, it takes up a lot of time. You can get lost
Yeah.
in your video games and
Yeah.
play for hours. It's really fun. I know I do that sometimes too. But
With your Animal Crossing.
I do play a lot of Animal Crossing. But that again can be a missed opportunity. But I feel like video games are more engaging.
Yeah.
And can more easily be an opportunity to bond together.
Yeah, and
'Cause-
I don't want to... Sorry, you weren't done with your thought. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, if you really, that's what you want to do is play your video game, why don't you ask your spouse if they want to play with you or pick a game that they want to play too and you guys can play together.
Right.
You know, because
Yeah.
we got a Switch recently. And
Which isn't real gaming, we know.
I
but
know.
That's okay.
But we have Mario Kart and we love to play it together.
Yeah.
And it feels, it is engaging. We're playing
It
together.
is.
We're talking to each other while we're
Yeah.
playing. We're trying to beat each other up in our
Trying-
little carts.
Trying to... Cambria is just trying to not be too mad.
I am very
punch me.
competitive and he's better than me at most Mario Kart things. So.
Yeah, I wanted to just relay the fact that we're not saying all of these things are bad. All screen time is bad.
No, it's
because
not.
there is definitely a place, and it's okay to sit and watch a show together, right? We enjoy that.
We're
we love
watching
doing
a
that.
movie. I love
Watching
watching
a movie
movies
together. And it can actually give you, it can prompt opportunities to talk about things that you wouldn't usually think about.
And it can prompt, it really easily prompts physical touch.
Yeah,
Because
you
we can
sit
cuddle
on-
together on the couch while we're watching our movie.
Yeah, absolutely. So we don't want to discount the value from screen time together. And individually, it's okay to have alone time. Some people need more alone time than together time. But that does bring us to a good point about not being together shouldn't always be work. Sometimes it is work.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a lot of work.
Sometimes I'm a lot of work for you to deal with.
Point.
What?
Your cup.
What do you mean?
Oh, we had this whole thing today about your cup.
It was very on sale. That's why I got it.
Yeah.
And you think you don't need another cup, though. You're just spending money I don't need to spend.
Well, the funny thing is you said that you knew you didn't need another cup.
Okay, but
And you
I
knew...
could not pass up the deal.
I know. It's just hilarious to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to what I was saying.
It was work for you to deal with me in that moment.
Right. Took some restraint because we're trying to be conscious about how we're spending money. And
But it's a $23 cup I got for $2.30.
yeah, that's basically 100% off. So
Basically.
yeah, you can't even...
That's close. If you round
Can't-
up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, being together shouldn't always be work. And we, like, if you've heard any of our other podcasts, you know it is work to be together a lot. Sometimes, a lot of times, it's hard. It's work to be together. If you're going through a transition in life and you're really struggling or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are times that it's a lot of work to be together. But we need to take the opportunity where the work isn't necessary and just enjoy time, intentional time together.
Yeah. And I would say if you're newly married, you don't understand this concept. You probably don't. I'm
Right.
not going to make an assumption.
Yeah.
But I know when I was newly married, people were saying things like this. I was like, no, I love being around him. He's my favorite person.
Yeah.
And you still are. But I
But
know more
came
things
in.
about you and you annoy me more now. But just being intentional about knowing, like, yeah, this is how it is now, but there is potential for it to change. And how can I work on this now so it doesn't get to a bad place in the future? How can I work on being more intentional now when it could possibly feel like more work to be around them in the future?
Mm-hmm.
Because we all go through different seasons of life and that affects our relationship.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree with you. Those things aren't necessarily bad. Like, the technology we have right now is incredible.
Oh, it's amazing.
And we can do amazing things with it.
It allows us to do this.
But it gives us more opportunity to use it in a bad way.
To be distracted from what's important.
And a lot of this, I feel like it's not like you're intentionally using it in a bad way. You probably don't even realize it.
You just forget.
But you're missing amazing opportunities to spend time with your spouse and grow together and be more connected.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. You want to move on to number 2? Because
Yes.
I think we're beating a dead horse now.
Number 2, family and friends.
Family and friends can be a big sticking point for pulling you apart.
Yes.
Do you want to head this one up or do you want me to?
You can. It was
Okay.
your idea.
It was my idea. My one idea.
No, you have 2 on. Because I made you come up with another one.
Okay. For us, it's more about family. And we love our families to death. Like, we just...
Just live in very close proximity to all
We
of our
do.
family. So they affect our lives in a different way.
They do. But friends, this is a big point where it's often more likely it's your friends. It's people's friends, right? Mm-hmm. And so what this is like, I am at work and, you know, my friend texts and says, hey, me and the guys are going to go out and go to this party tonight, right? And if that's been, you know, if that's once a month, it's great. That's fine. Do it.
Yeah, still have friends, please.
Yeah, have fun.
It's important.
But if it's taking precedence over each other, right, that's where it becomes a problem. That's where it isolates us. Because if instead of, let's say, our scheduled date night, if someone invites me to something else and I'm like, oh, hey, honey, I need to go do this thing. Someone invited me to this today. And, like, it was it's been on the calendar for a month that we had date night tonight. All of a sudden, that's a big problem.
You're picking them over me.
Exactly.
I'm not as important to you as them because you chose them over me when you
Yep.
knew we had time together.
Yep. So that's an extreme example, but just learning, like, I don't want to... if I know that I'm not going to be home most nights, but there is a night I am free and I'm home, making sure that I'm intentional with my time with you,
Yeah.
right? Instead of planning something else in that's going to take up my time
Yeah.
with other people.
And it doesn't even need to be, oh, I have a free night. We need to plan something big to do together.
Yeah, we need to go out and we need to
It
have
can
sex
just
and
be,
we need
I
to do
have
this and
a
that. Yeah.
free night. I'm just going to be here.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be home.
And
I'm
that,
just going to be with my spouse.
that could be watching a movie together. But,
Yeah.
like, it's a great opportunity to be able to, like, do an evening walk and be able to play a game or spend time training your dogs together. That's a really fun thing for us, actually.
Yeah.
Or spending time as a whole family if you have kids, right? Doing something at home together, or like going and doing something simple like mini golf, or being together and having space for time to talk together and time
Yeah.
to just enjoy each other's presence.
Yeah. Your spouse needs to know that they are your first choice.
Right.
And that doesn't mean you can't ever do other things, but if you're constantly choosing something else over your spouse, you've got an issue there, because
Yeah, it makes you...
they need to know that they're important to you, that you would choose them over anything else. And if you can't honestly say those things about them, I just wonder, why did you even marry them?
Yeah.
I'm sure you married your spouse because you liked them. You liked being with them.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you want to, you know?
Yeah. I know we've run into this because we live right next to the shop I work in with my brother. It's really easy for me to, if he texts and says, hey, can you help me with something? It's really easy for me to jump up and just go help him.
Mm-hmm.
But we've run into this problem where I will do that and not even realize the fact that we were in the middle of something together, or we were in the middle of a conversation or a project or whatever together. We're working together.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like, John needs my help, and I just get up. And it's a problem.
Yeah.
I feel like this falls into that same category.
Because that
where
makes me feel like,
he's more important than you.
oh, he's more important than
Yeah.
me. Even if, like, I don't realize that at first, it subconsciously builds up, and I just know if John needs you, he needs you.
Mm-hmm.
And he's always more important than me.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And your spouse should be your number 2.
Yep.
Like we always say, you're number 2, God's number 1. But, yeah.
Yeah, it's also, we've been able to, I feel like we're finding a balance
Yes.
now where he and I have come to an understanding, and you and I have been of an understanding, and we all recognize, like, if he really needs my help, he will ask me. He doesn't feel like he can ask me, but he knows that I need to communicate with you, and if I'm in the middle of something, I will tell him and say, I'll be out at this time or in this long amount of time.
Yeah.
And then everyone's good, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I will also say along the family lines, as a newlywed, that transition is hard between I'm used to my family, this is the way we do things, I'm close with them, and now suddenly you have this whole new family that you don't know how they work, and you don't know how to interact with them because you didn't grow up with them, and it's so easy for you to, like, still be glued to your own family.
Yeah.
But have your spouse and bring them into your world, but it's hard for you to step into theirs.
Yeah.
And so, just, like, I know it's really easy if a parent or a sibling says, hey, can you help me with something? You're like, yeah, of course I can, you're my family. But it's like your spouse...
At least for us it is that way, yeah. I'm sorry.
If it is for us, it is for other people too.
I'm just saying, yes. I'm sorry. Continue with your point. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I feel like I forgot what I said.
I know.
It's, you think my sibling, my parents asked me for this, their family, I should do this for them. Your spouse is your family now too. and they are now more important family than your siblings or your parents. And so constantly dropping everything to help them, but not your spouse, it's not okay.
Yeah.
If like your mom says, hey, I need your help with this, or hey, I'm coming over or something, your spouse is your more important now.
Yeah.
They are your number one family, and then everybody else is extended family now.
Yep.
And so making sure your spouse is a priority and they know that they're a priority over, I feel like for men, making sure your spouse is a priority over your mom. For women, making sure your husband is a priority over your dad.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So.
That was a good point. Thank you.
Yeah.
I want to touch on something family related real quick. It's a little tangent.
Go for it.
But what you were saying made me think about if your spouse is making it, if they are uncomfortable with your family, and so that in turn is making it so that you're not able to spend any time with your family, and it's affecting your relationship with your extended family, right? Your parents and siblings. You need to work through that, because they need to recognize that it's not like they're going anywhere.
Yeah.
And so learning how to blend into each other's families, right? Just like you were talking about, stepping into each other's worlds. It's that idea of like, Christmas time is a really easy example for us, right? I've learned that your family does Christmas a specific way, and you've learned that my family does Christmas a specific way, right? And we both like have learned to enjoy different aspects of each other's Christmas things. And so having that conversation with your spouse, if they're uncomfortable with your family, and so in turn they're keeping you from being able to spend that time, that needs to be resolved, whatever that looks like. And it may simply be that your family is not accepting of your spouse, which then it's not a problem with your spouse, it's a problem with your family, and you need to work through that with that.
Situation.
It's really hard. We know we've heard of plenty of people that have that problem. It's really hard.
Something I want to say about your Christmas analogy, though, is also learning to make things your own.
Yeah.
And it's not now suddenly I'm part of two families, which you are part of two families, but you're really part of three families, because it's you and me family.
Yeah.
And then your side of the family, my side of the family. But the most important is the you and me family.
Of course.
And so, like, for the Christmas example, yes, you learning how to deal with my family's Christmas and me learning how to deal with your family's Christmas, but how can we make this our Christmas?
Yeah, having our own traditions and things like that.
Yeah.
So.
I also want to say it takes time. It's hard. It is really hard to learn how to function with a new family. Learn how to deal with these people that your spouse is just so used to and you're so not. I get it. It's really hard.
Yes, we both do.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and it's not something you can just be like, well, why don't you like my family? Why don't you want to spend time with them? And it's not going to get fixed overnight. It takes time.
It does.
Even if it's not a problem, it just takes time to get used to it. Used to how other people do things, because you have your way of doing life and doing things, and almost everybody else is different.
That's true.
Even you, just not even talking about your family, just learning to live with you. You're so different than me.
Yes.
It took time to just figure out, how do you do things? Because this is how I do things.
Yep.
So.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's get back on it.
Next point.
We've
only gone over 2 points.
I know.
Third point. Work/job.
Yes.
I think those are synonym words, but...
They are.
Yeah.
In today's world, oh my gosh, we've been hearing so much about the economy and I'm sure a lot of people have. Just like how far money goes these days. And we're all working our butts off, right? And trying to make it work and trying to keep up with the house and the cars and the stuff.
Yeah.
And what that can do is make work a higher priority than our personal connection.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't know, that's about it. But the biggest thing is like, yes, money's important. It keeps us alive. It keeps us able to do fun things. It keeps us able to do the necessary things, whatever, right? Keeps us healthy. Money isn't everything.
No.
And it can so easily be turned into an idol, right? And we can't let that happen.
Yeah. It's very easy to just say, well, we need this. We need money. So it needs to be a top priority.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? You need each other too.
Yeah.
It's not we need money. This is nice, but, it's not necessary because we're married and so therefore we're together. Like it just doesn't just work out. It takes work. Your marriage does. And it just seems silly. Like you're willing to put all this work into making money. Why aren't you willing to put in all this work to help your marriage? Because that's the thing that's really, it's going to last. Your job is probably going to change at some point. This isn't.
Yeah. Yeah, and so if you, we talked about overtime, right? We talked about how we know so many people that talk about how if they weren't making overtime, they couldn't make it work. And it's like, so you're working 70 hours a week just to make ends meet. And obviously, I get it. Like, things are expensive.
Yeah, and
it's
you gotta
crazy.
do what you need to do to help your family survive.
Yeah. And
I get that.
I am all for like doing a side hustle in the evening and doing all that. I have no problem with that. But maybe the first step, instead of, well, this just is how it is, the first step to maybe being able to create more time between each other is auditing where your money's going.
Yeah.
I know I've said that a number of different episodes, but it's so true. It's like so many people don't realize how much stuff they have and how much stuff they are paying on month over month. And it's like, do you realize that you could only work 40 hours if you maybe chose to live in a little bit smaller house, or maybe chose to drive a little bit older car, maybe not had the new boat or the new RV or the new whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's a really valuable first step because so many people don't even realize. It could be as simple as you forgot you still have a Netflix subscription. We've all seen those ads where it's like,
Yeah.
it's like a service where you can like cancel your subscriptions all right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But recognizing that the job is not more important than the spouse.
Yeah. Your marriage, I would say, is always going to be more important than work.
Yeah.
Not saying don't ever work, because it's not important. But just making sure you are intentional, that's not a word, intentional about carving out time to be with your spouse.
Yeah.
Or to even be with your family if you have kids.
It absolutely takes that intentionality.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you will just go through the motions of work and your boss says, hey, I need you to work this weekend, or hey, I need you to, and I mean, you're at work all day, so what's the big deal to add a little extra? Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I think we kind of got that.
Yeah.
covered.
I rant when it comes to money, which is crazy because like the way we do money is not the same as most people.
Yeah. We've
so
been put
different.
in a unique situation.
We have.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But yeah, I feel like that one can get misinterpreted sometimes. Like, we're not telling you work is bad, making money is bad.
No.
But when you consistently prioritize that above your spouse, like anything, you consistently prioritize anything above your spouse, work is just a really easy thing to prioritize above them because you say, well, honey, we need this. We need the money to pay for
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. I'm going to work this much so that when we're able to retire, right? When we have enough money in the retirement account,
Yeah.
we can spend time together. It's like, would you rather do that or spend a few extra years
Yeah.
working towards retirement, right? And have that super valuable time together.
Or something, I don't know how big it is in today's world, but just like climbing the corporate ladder
Yeah.
and how it's not even the money that's like driving someone, it's they just want to get to the top.
Yeah.
And that is the most important thing to them.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of marriages get ruined over that because that can so easily come before your spouse.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you assume, I want it, so you want it. We're on the same page because it's important to me, so it's
Yep.
going to be important to you. And
More often than not, one spouse, money is important, and one spouse, money is not important.
yeah. I can
Like, they
almost-
like to buy things, but it's like, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. But I can almost guarantee if you ask your spouse, what's more important to you, time with me or me earning more money or climbing the corporate ladder, they will probably say time with you. If not, eventually they'll say it. Because you get to this point where you're just like, we spend no time together.
Yeah.
And I crave that. Even if quality time isn't a top love language, like you need to spend time together in your marriage for it to work.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a team effort. It's not a one-sided thing.
Yeah, it's a really easy path. Prioritizing work is a really easy path to going into a roommate phase where you're just roommates that happen to be married,
Yeah.
you know. So, yeah.
All right, number 4. Something that can pull you towards isolation is not consistently going to church together. And I'll even add in there, not praying together.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to start with going to church?
Sure.
So, going to church together. What's the benefit as a couple, right? Obviously, there's personal benefits, there's spiritual benefits in each of our spirits.
Mm-hmm.
The benefit to us is realizing that we're both committed to this, right? We're both willing to take the time out of our day, out of our week, to go to church, be vulnerable, worship together, interact with other believers, do those things together, right? Because it's important. And I know this is true for you. I would say this is probably true for a lot of women, is it's 100% a fact that if dads or husbands are making the choice to not go to church, first of all, they are far more likely to get divorced. And their families are far less likely to have any relationship with God or a good relationship, if any, right? And so families aren't going to church because fathers aren't going to church, right? And so it definitely lays on men a lot more because women, that's just a lot of women's disposition, right? They're just like, I'm going to follow you. I'm trusting you. I'm trusting your judgment.
As they should.
Yeah, as they should. Some guys aren't doing a good job.
Yeah.
A lot of guys aren't doing a good job. But like you drug me into church. You said, this is where I'm going.
Yes,
So
I did.
come on with me. And it's flip-flop now, where I wouldn't say it's flipped, but we both like crave that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's just something about just spiritual things
Mm-hmm.
that bond you together in a way that other things can't.
Right. Yeah. Now, going to a church service together does not bond us the same as praying together.
No, but it bonds us in a different way than sitting and playing a game together or watching
Yeah,
TV together.
it does.
Or, because it's not just the two of us, it's the three of us.
Right. So here's the thing that differentiates the two spiritual pieces, right? The praying together and the going to church together. Going to church, you are around other believers, so you get the energy from them. You also are able to, whether that's before or after or even during service sometimes, are able to interact with other people and struggle with other people and just kind of,
Just be with
just
them.
be with them. Yeah, you can, like, the amount of encouragement we get and challenges sometimes just on a Sunday morning is crazy. It can be more
Yeah.
than the whole rest of the week. Some weeks.
I think church is meant to be a place where you can just be you, be vulnerable, and not pretend to be somebody else.
Yeah.
If you feel like you have to do that, first of all, I'd say look inside yourself and decide, is that something you're really putting on yourself, or are they putting it on you?
Yeah.
If it's your church is putting it on you, you have to be a certain way to be here. I don't know if that's really the right church for you. Would you say that?
Yeah, I think
Because
that's a hard subject.
It's a hard subject. It's something we don't need
That'll
to get into too
prick
much.
a lot of people, but yeah,
But
I totally agree.
I feel like you should feel vulnerable. You should feel like you can just,
You can be safe to be that way, be in
yes.
that space, yeah.
And that can be just being in a space like that together with other believers that can challenge you and grow you and
Yeah.
in a special way.
I agree.
So, yeah.
So,
But making not just go to church together, but making it a priority to consistently go to church together. Because it's 1 hour a week.
yeah, saying no to other things
Yeah.
when,
It's 1 hour a week. Anyone can do that.
yeah. I stopped in the middle of the difference between praying and going to church together.
Okay. Go for it.
So, praying together is just an us thing. It's an you, me, and God, right? It's the triangle. And it's all about, that is where some of our biggest vulnerability is located, right? It's in that space, that thin space of spirituality, and being able to sit. Sometimes it's just sitting and being quiet and listening to God. Sometimes it's just like pouring things out that are burdening us. There's so many ways that it takes form, but it's a very bonding space for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that can feel awkward at first if you're not used to it.
Yeah, it's still hard for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something to learn. I know I've compared it to sex in the past. Like prayer and sex are both just so intimate acts. And it's okay to not just jump into it. Prayer. I'm talking about prayer, not sex. To not just jump into it, but to even just make it a priority of before a meal, one of us just says a quick prayer.
Yeah.
And to work into it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because I know it can be uncomfortable, it can be weird, it doesn't feel normal if you're not used to it, but it's so powerful. And not utilizing that, you're missing out on something incredible that God can do through you, the two of you.
Yeah.
So,
I agree.
anything else to add to that one?
No.
Okay. The last reason, number 5, it's a word I just said.
Wow.
The S word.
Oh, man. Oh, shoot.
Sex.
Oh. That S
Withholding
word.
sex can pull you towards isolation.
Yes.
Which sounds like a, well, duh,
Yeah, of
kind
course.
of thing. But I feel like a lot of times people withhold sex unintentionally.
Subconsciously, maybe.
Subconsciously.
I guess that's the same.
I don't know. Anyway, I just think it's so easy to just say no. It's like, you want to have sex? No. I'm not in the mood. I'm not feeling it.
Yeah.
I have a headache. My stomach doesn't feel the best. And obviously, it's okay to say no sometimes. I'm not saying like
You can't
every
say
time your
no.
spouse says ask for it, you have to give it to them. It's like there are times where it's like, I really am feeling sick right now. I'm not up for that.
Yeah.
That's
Or,
okay.
yeah, or you literally, like, if your head hits the pillow, like, if you guys are like, ooh, let's do it, and we go to bed, I might fall asleep in 5 minutes, okay?
Or less.
Make it fast.
Make it fast. But, it's just so easy to just say, no, I'm not feeling like it. I'm not
Yeah.
in the mood. And if you say that over and over and over again without a yes in there, it's withholding.
It is.
Because it's a need that your spouse has. It's a need that you have, even if you don't realize it. But,
Yes, it is.
yeah.
Sorry, I said that really weird.
Sex is just so bonding. It's an obvious and super quick like realization that it brings you towards oneness. It's not like it takes time. It's like, oh, we just had sex. I feel very bonded to you. We're one right now.
Yeah.
That's how it feels for me. Does it feel that way for you?
Yeah.
So
Less than you, but yeah.
it's necessary in a marriage, and withholding it brings you towards isolation.
Yeah. When we thought of this point, one of the things that came up was like, if your spouse withholds it for a certain amount of time, withholds something that you need, you will look for that need to be met somewhere else.
Yep.
Right? That was a big point that we brought up. And it's not that, like, not having sex for a week will make it, like, your self-control shouldn't be so low that you can't not cheat if you don't
Yeah.
if you don't have sex for a week with your spouse. That's not what I'm saying. There's no reason for us to ever cheat, but that is definitely a lot of people's reasoning for going that way, that far, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is like, well, I just don't get my needs met ever.
Yeah.
So
I also want to point out that it's like literally in the Bible not to withhold sex.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Do you need to look it
Let me
up?
see if I can find it.
Look
Pretty
it
sure
up.
it's a 1 Corinthians thing.
Okay.
Everything's in 1 Corinthians, it feels like.
Yeah. I'm going to talk about something while you look it up.
Okay.
All right. So, people, can they see my triangle? Do you know?
I'm sure they can.
Okay. All right. So, you see the triangle. We've talked about the love triangle. Are you there yet?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I'll have to finish my thing after.
Okay. In 1 Corinthians 7, I feel like I've been reading this a lot because it's called Principles for Marriage.
Right.
It's right
It's
there.
our guidebook.
Um,
It's our guide chapter, sorry.
Verse 5. Do not deprive one another, except perhaps by agreement for a limited time, that you may devote yourselves to prayer, but then come together again so that Satan may not tempt you because of your lack of self-control.
That's exactly what we were just talking about. That's really
Literally says it.
wow. So if you are of faith, well, if you're not, we applaud you for making it this far because we got into it. But, yeah, it's there.
Yeah.
It's
Don't deprive him of it unless it's agreed upon between the two of you. Is that what it says? Yeah. Perhaps by agreement for a limited time, and the purpose is to devote ourselves to prayer.
Yeah.
But then when you're done with that, you come back together.
and you celebrate with a holy act.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I even saw something today about sex. She was talking about how, like, we have parts of our bodies that are, like, the women especially, that are only there for pleasure. And I don't know if God made any other animals that way, but he designed us in his image. And so she said, I think sex it can be worship.
That's a fun way to look at it.
Is that video I showed you that I said it's really long, so
Oh, yeah, I haven't
but you
watched
should
it
watch
yet.
it. It was in there, and she said, I think part of sex is designed to be worship.
That's
When
kind of cool.
it's in the
Marriage
relationship.
Yeah.
And it's in the way that it was designed to be.
I like that.
So
That's neat.
when thinking about like only if we decide not like agree not to do it together for prayer, but then we come back together, it's kind of like we're coming back together to worship God.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
I like that a lot. That's cool.
Yeah. Talk
We'll have
more
to
about
worship
that.
later.
That would be a good cover. You want to go worship with me?
Have you prayed today? Because we need to worship later.
My gosh. Anyway, I haven't put much thought into that, but it's kind of like, oh, that's a good way to think about it.
Yeah, we should spend more time on that.
We should.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Cool. Can I talk about my love triangle?
yes. Talk about your love triangle.
All right. I'm excited about my love triangle. So, this is a merch sample. If you're just listening, go find it on our YouTube channel, people.
My gosh. You're so demanding.
Yeah. All right. So, this is the first one we've ever made. Would you wear something like this?
Show them the wrist. Show them the
Oh yeah,
wrist.
show them the wrist. Boom, boom.
It doesn't have the together on it because...
It would have been too small.
Too small.
It's
But-
embroidered. It's super comfy. We love this. I really like this hoodie. It's like my new favorite one.
It
But-
does incredible things for your eyes.
Anyway, we're wanting to launch merch soon. We're working on some finalizing details. But if you would be interested in something like this, send us a message, leave a comment. Either one.
Yeah.
Or just like the video. That's totally fine because no one likes our videos.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're in love with the merch. We're still, there's some things we're trying to figure out still, but yeah, let us know.
Yeah.
That's all I had to say.
Yeah. I know my brother, it's like, when are you coming out with merch? I want to buy some. And I'm like, you're not even married. He's like, I don't care.
He's weird.
He is. But like that.
Yeah, it's simple.
Yeah.
And it's-
If he wore something that said I love my wife, I'd be like, dude, you're taking it a bit too far.
Yeah.
You don't have a wife.
it sounded like you said life right there.
Wife, you know? I'm just kidding.
So, anyway, little merch plug.
Yeah.
You can't buy it yet, but let us know if you would buy it.
Yeah, it's a little sneak peek.
Ta-da.
All right.
I'll give you a sneak peek later
When we worship.
when we worship. Maybe before.
Thank you. Okay, can I just do a quick little recap?
Go ahead.
Because it was really long.
Yeah,
so
long.
we did 5 things that can pull you towards isolation. First one is screen time. Second one is
Dogs barking.
that's the sign that we need to be done. I feel like they always bark at the end.
I know.
Okay. The second one is family and friends. Third one is work. Fourth one is not going to church or not praying together. Fifth one is withholding sex.
Yep. And someone's at our door.
All right.
We love you guys. Thanks
Thank
for listening.
you for listening. We'll see you next week.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye then.